The first step of Portugal's empire was a crusading conquest that should have been a failure. August 1415, the Strait of Gibraltar shimmers with sails. 200 Portuguese ships close on the walls of Ceuta. King João I leads the charge, his sons at his side, princes fighting not just for glory, but for God. Cannons thunder, ladders rise, and by nightfall the city falls. But the victory is hollow. The caravans move their trade elsewhere. Instead of rivers of gold, Portugal gains a costly garrison, a prize already turning to dust. Yet from failure comes the spark. If Africa's ports will not yield riches, then the ocean itself must be conquered. Within a generation, Portuguese caravels push past the edge of old maps to Madeira, the Azores, and beyond Cape Bojador, once feared as the end of the world. A raid meant as a crusade becomes the gateway to empire. A gamble that should have failed instead breaks the world open. Portugal's empire begins with a conquest that should have been a failure. August 1415, the Strait of Gibraltar bristles with sails. 200 ships carry 45,000 men towards the Moroccan port of Ceuta. At their head rides King João I of Portugal, founder of the Avis dynasty. At his side, 3 sons, Duarte, Pedro, and the 19-year-old Prince Henry. Cannons thunder, ladders rise, and in a single day, Ceuta falls. For the first time, a small Iberian kingdom plants its banner beyond Europe. But victory disappoints. The caravans shift east to Tangier. Gold and spice slip away. Instead of riches, Portugal gains a fortress that drains the treasury. On the surface, Ceuta looks hollow. Yet its real power lies in what it teaches, that the ocean itself can be crossed, and that what lies beyond Iberia may be worth more than what lies within. Prince Henry, restless and ambitious, is made governor of Ceuta. From merchants he hears of caravans from mysterious lands beyond the desert, where gold is said to flow like water. He hears whispers of a Christian king, Prester John, ruling far to the south. If the caravans cannot be seized on land, he vows to find their source by sea. Back in Portugal, Henry builds his base at Sagres, on the windswept edge of the Algarve. Later legend will call it a school of navigation. In truth, Sagres is a workshop of empire. Cartographers, shipwrights, and sailors gather here. New maps are drawn. New ships, caravels, are built, designed to master Atlantic winds. Soon, Henry's captains strike west. 1419, João Gonçalves Zarco and Tristão Vaz Teixeira reach Madeira. Fires blaze for years as forests are cleared. Sugarcane, transplanted from Sicily, sinks roots into black volcanic soil. The model of plantation and coerced labor is born. Madeira is not just a colony, it is a prototype. 1420, Diogo de Silves sights the Azores. Colonists follow in the 1430s, Portuguese joined by Flemings eager for land. Wheat, livestock, dye woods make them profitable. But their true value is strategic. In the mid-Atlantic, the Azores become waypoints, anchoring fleets that will one day span oceans. Yet the greatest obstacle lies to the south. Cape Bojador, the end of the world. Mariners whisper of boiling seas, monsters, and winds that no ship can return against. Voyage after voyage turns back. Henry refuses to yield. 1434, his captain Gil Inez succeeds. He rounds the cape. No monsters, no boiling sea, only more water. By 1434's end, Portugal holds Ceuta in Africa, plantations in Madeira, waypoints in the Azores, and has pierced the veil of Bojador. What began as a crusade has become something new, a machine of exploration. Faith still drives it, but now commerce, technology, and ambition fuse with it. But beyond Bojador lie greater temptations: gold, ivory, and slaves. The dream of discovery is already hardening into profit, and faith will bind itself to chains. Portugal's first great discovery does not bring gold or spices. It brings slaves. 1434, Gil Eanes sails past Cape Bojador, the line sailors once feared as the end of the world. But the discoveries are not what Portugal dreamed. Most expected riches. In 1441, two of Henry's captains, Antão Gonçalves and Nuno Tristão, return not with treasure, but with people. A dozen Africans, captured near Cape Blanc, paraded through Lisbon. Discovery has become human cargo. By 1444, Lagos hosts Europe's first permanent slave market. Captives are shipped to Madeira, where sugar plantations devour labor. Exploration is no longer curiosity. It is a system. Faith blesses conquest. Commerce drives profit. Technology makes it repeatable. 1445, Dinis Dias sails further south. He reaches the Senegal River, and for the first time, Portugal faces the Wolof Empire, rulers of gold and pepper. Africa is no empty coast, but kingdoms of power and wealth. Portugal must deal with them in trade, alliance, or war. 1455, Pope Nicholas V issues a bull, Romanus Pontifex. Rome grants Portugal monopoly over Africa. Colonization, conversion, even enslavement, sanctified. 1456, explorers strike west and find the Cape Verde Islands. Colonists follow fast. Plantations rise. Captives from the mainland are shipped across. The triangle is complete. Africa supplies labor. The Atlantic islands refine it. Lisbon profits. 1460, at Sagres, Prince Henry dies. He never sailed far himself, yet his shadow is vast. He sponsored more than 40 expeditions. He drove the caravel into being, gathered cartographers, shipwrights, sailors, and fused crusade, commerce, and science into a single machine. With his death, command passes to the crown, but the machine cannot be stopped. By 1460, Portugal holds colonies in Madeira, the Azores, and Cape Verde. It controls slave routes, gold trades, and carries Rome's blessing to seize whatever it finds. And this is only the beginning. Soon the castles of Elmina will rise, treaties will carve the seas, and the edge of Africa will fall away to the open waters of Asia. (1460), Prince Henry is dead. But the dream he began splits in two. In Morocco, Portugal chases glory. In Africa, it finds gold and slaves. Prestige comes from Crusade. Profit comes from chains. The question now is whether Henry's dream will collapse with him, or harden into empire. The answer arrives quickly. Scattered voyages harden into a crown-backed system. Ships push past Sierra Leone. Caravels return with gold dust, ivory, pepper, and enslaved Africans. 1471, King Afonso V sails with an army across the water. Portuguese troops storm Arzilla. Tangier, lost decades earlier, falls back into their hands. A crusading victory is claimed. But Morocco bleeds the treasury more than it fills it. Most believe the crusade has brought glory. In truth, the gold that matters flows from Africa's coast. That same year, Portuguese ships reach the gold coast of modern Ghana. The Akan control rich gold fields. Lisbon moves quickly. A foothold is planted at Elmina, a trading post built to dominate exchange. For the first time, Portugal taps a source of staggering wealth. But rivals loom. Castile contests Atlantic claims. A war of succession brings the crowns to open conflict. The stakes are no longer local, they are oceanic. Who owns the seas? 1479, the Treaty of Alcatraz divides the ocean. Castile keeps the Canaries. Portugal claims Madeira, the Azores, Cape Verde, and all of West Africa. The Church divides the ocean, but paper cannot guard gold. 1482, King John II orders a fortress on the Gold Coast. São Jorge de Mina, Elmina. Whitewashed walls rise above the shore. It secures gold, expands the slave trade, and becomes the blueprint for Portugal's string of pearls. Forts along the seas, posts instead of kingdoms. 6 years later, 1488, Bartolomeo Dias is blown south by storms. His ships round the tip of Africa. He calls it the Cape of Storms. The king renames it Cape of Good Hope. For the first time, Portugal has proof the ocean highway to Asia is real. By 1488, the kingdom has transformed. Morocco gives prestige, Elmina gives gold, treaties give legitimacy, Dias gives the road to Asia. Portugal is no longer a crusader kingdom. Its ships and fortresses form the skeleton of the first global empire. But if the Cape has been rounded, one question remains. Who will be the first to reach India? Portugal has found the road to Asia, just as Spain finds a whole new world. 1488, Bartolomeo Dias proves what generations only dreamed. His storm-tossed ships round the tip of Africa, the Cape of Good Hope. The ocean highway to Asia is real. 1489. But shock comes from the west. Columbus, sailing for Spain, lands in the Americas. The race for empire is no longer Portugal's alone. Instead of tearing each other apart, the Iberian crowns divide the world. 1494. The Treaty of Tordesillas draws a line across the globe. Spain takes the Americas. Portugal takes Africa and Asia. A poor Iberian kingdom, once boxed in by rivals, now holds papal license to half the world. 1497. King Manuel the Fortunate commissions Vasco da Gama to finish what Dias began. 4 ships leave Lisbon. They round the Cape, guided by Dias's charts. They cross the Indian Ocean with Arab pilots, harnessing the monsoon winds. May 14th, 98. They reach Calicut on India's Malabar coast. The Zamorin receives them, but Arab Muslim merchants, who dominate the spice trade, resist. Most believed da Gama's arrival would open the markets of India. In truth, it opened hostility. Da Gama secures only a modest cargo, yet the impossible is now reality. Portugal has reached Asia by sea. Within months, the spices da Gama brings back sell at staggering profit. Lisbon is no longer a peripheral kingdom. The pattern of empire is set. Discovery, conquest, fortresses, monopoly. But discovery is not domination. Spices, gold, and slaves will flow only if Portugal can defend its routes with forts and fleets. Rivals are watching, merchants are hostile. Even the ocean is an enemy. A crusading gamble at Ceuta has become a gateway to the world. In less than a century, Portugal turned the horizon itself into its battlefield and built the first empire of the seas. But opening the seas is not the same as holding them.